so I can put the passion into this one.
Some passion. Oh my god.
Yeah, some people have heard this story before. We're going to talk about my situation with some trash cans. You haven't heard this one, have you, Brandon?
Possibly. No, you had like three trash cans at one time.
Yeah, so you haven't heard the end of it. Okay.
All right.
It gets better. Um, so it all starts when I bought my house. It came with a few trash cans on the premises. Trash can, recycling can, and they
Yep.
just get kept out in the alley behind my house. So I don't think too much of them. I don't pay too much attention to them. And after a while, I realized, oh wait, my utility bill says I'm being charged for an additional trash cart, but not for an additional recycling can. So I looked into it and I called the city where I'm at, and they explained that yeah, additional trash carts cost extra. You can have as many recycling bins as you want once you pay the initial fee for them. So the previous homeowners bought the extra recycling cans, so I just have a free extra recycling can. I'm fine with that. But I didn't want to be paying the extra, I think like $4 a month for another trash can when I live alone. I don't even fill up the first one all the time. Especially after I moved in, I wasn't filling it up all the time. So I called them up and I said, hey, I got two trash cans. I only want one. Are you guys able to come by and pick it up and get rid of it? They said yes, but it'll take about 2-3 weeks before we can do that because of just slow down scheduling things like that. I said that's fine. I'm actually heading out of town for the next about 2.5-3 weeks, so I hopefully will see a result when I get back.
Okay.
uh, I leave town for vacation for about 2-3 weeks. I had another friend of ours, Matt, was coming by to just check out my mail periodically, and he never said anything about the trash cans. He just like, yeah, everything looks good and looks normal. I come back from my vacation and there's a new trash can on my front porch. I was like, all right, sounds good. They took the old ones and they gave me a brand new one. That should be fine. As I take the trash can out into the alley, all my trash cans are still there. All right, so now I have three trash cans. I wanted one. I call I call the city the next morning. It's like, hey, what's going on here? I have an extra trash can. I only wanted one. I wanted you guys to take one away. And apparently, in the phone call I had, in the notes that they had, apparently I complained that one of my trash cans was broken, so they brought me a replacement. My problem with that, the trash cans were never broken, and they still never took the broken trash can with them. If they were there to replace a trash can, they should have taken the broken trash can. And the city's like, yeah, they couldn't tell which one was broken, so they just left you the new one.
Then just
Fantastic.
take the other one. Just take all of
Totally
them then,
simple logic. You
except for
had
one.
yeah, you had a space on your truck for a brand new trash can. You took it off, put something back on there, and fill up that space. No. So now I'm going to be charged for three trash cans, even though I didn't want that. So I called them again, and I was like, look, I don't want this. I only want one trash can. What do I need to do? They said, we'll get someone to come on by on the next rotation and take the trash cans away. I was like, sounds good. I'm about to head out of town again for a wedding for the next 3-4 days, so we'll be done when I get back. And they said, yes, a week from now it should be good to go. 3 days later, trash can hasn't been removed, and I head out to the wedding. I come back from the wedding another 3-4 days later, and Matt again had been checking my house every day for mail. He's like, yeah, looks like all the trash cans are there. I was like, fantastic. I show up to my house that night at like 10 o'clock at night. There's a brand new trash can on my front porch again. I'm freaking out, like, oh my gosh, they just brought me a fourth trash can. So I go back out to the alley, and lo and behold, I still got my two recycling cans and three trash cans, plus number four. So I've got two brand spanking new trash cans to look at, shining in the light, and two that are just kind of like beat up and worn down, but not broken. And I called the city again. No one answered. I had to wait a whole another 2 days before someone finally answered and talked to me on the phone. And the woman who answered from city council was just laughing with me for like 8 minutes. She's like, "Oh my gosh, I've never heard this happen before." But yeah, me neither. She's like, well, here's the number to call the trash company, and you can speak to them directly and get this arranged. I was like, I'll do that. Thank you. Call the trash company. What is it? A guy named Randy, I think it was. He had a great voice. But anyways, I speak to Randy, and he's like, Randy's like, hey, what's going on? I was like, you guys got to tell me. I requested only one trash can to be left at my premises, and you guys have brought me two brand new trash cans. Like, really? And he looked it up, and the trash company has no record, zero records of anyone on my street or the nearby streets requesting a new trash can. So they don't even know why I have new trash cans, which is just ridiculous. Why are you bringing me trash cans if no one requested them? So he's like, yeah, we'll get someone on that right away. And again, I had to leave town for another, this is around the summertime, so I had to leave for another event going on. While I was on the phone with Randy, he's like, yeah, just all the trash cans you don't want put on the sidewalk because the garbage truck goes through the alley to pick these things up. So if it's on the sidewalk, it'll stand out and they'll know, oh, front porch trash can, that's not supposed to be there. That's the ones we're grabbing. So I put all three trash cans I'm not keeping on the sidewalk in front of my house. A week later, literally 7 days later, I come back from that other trip and I'm checking my mail again, and I have a letter from the city. Now, please note, all three trash cans a week later are still on my sidewalk, and I have a letter from the city that says, hey, you're in violation of our code because you have trash cans on the front sidewalk and they're not supposed to be there. You have a $50 fine to pay in 3 days. Like, oh my God, this is fantastic. This is just getting me even more worked up. This is not how this is supposed to be. I wanted one trash can. Now I'm being fined for having extra trash cans I didn't order. You gotta love bureaucracy. It's great. So I called the city again, and a new person picked up. I was like, oh, is that the situation? He's like, all right, we're not going to charge you for that because you're just following the trash company's instructions. But here's the number. Call them again and try and get that fixed. It's like, all right, I'll do that. So I call the phone number again. Randy picks up. He's like, hey, Randy, it's been a week. Why are there still trash cans on my sidewalk? He's like, oh, I don't know. Someone was supposed to go by. Let me look at the notes. And I was like, well, the city wants to fine me for this because you guys haven't done your job. Do you guys reimburse me if I have to pay that fine, or do you guys just pay it for me? He never answered my question. He went to the notes and just said, oh, apparently they couldn't find the trash cans. They went there a week ago and couldn't find them, so they left.
You
Reminder,
gotta be kidding me.
Oh,
reminder,
wow.
there are never any trash cans on the sidewalks. These are bright red, bright orange, amber looking trash cans surrounded by gray sidewalks and green grass and brick buildings. They don't blend in, they stand out. There's no cars in front of them either. There's no car in front of my house. So they stand out. And you're telling me that these trash people drove down the street and said, oh, we can't see them. Oh, well, we won't call and see where they are. We won't follow up. We're just going to say we don't see it and leave. So of course, I was livid. I didn't let it go on the phone because at the end of the day, the problem was going to be solved. I didn't need to get too angry about it. But on the inside, I was flaring up like, oh my gosh, this is just ridiculous. I could have done your job for you. Tell me where to drop them off at this point. Um,
Facts.
five minutes after that phone call, all three trash cans are picked up. Incredibly, they could find them right away. Even though I didn't move them, they immediately knew where they were. So thankfully now I have one trash can, two recycling cans, and I wasn't fined. But that was my trash can story. This took 6 weeks to go from two trash cans up to four down to one. And I only wanted one
No,
the whole time.
that took longer than that, didn't it? Because like when I left like in July, you were dealing with this in July
Yeah.
of
It ended at
2021.
it ended at the end of July. It started mid-June because I left for 2 weeks mid-June. So it ended at the end of July.
Oh,
Yeah, so about six
okay.
weeks. It ended a week
Oh,
or two after you left, yeah, or a couple weeks after you left, yeah. But
oh, okay, okay.
I
Got
just
you.
and I have the proof to show all this. I've still got the emails and the phone calls and all that stuff. I'm like, look, this is. I don't know if anyone has ever had a situation like that where all you're trying to do is get rid of a trash can, and the gods above say no. You gotta have more. That's my trash can story. I like it. It's a little ridiculous, but I
Yeah.
like it.
We should probably do
That's
the
wild.
intro. It's like 9 minutes in, and we have to do the intro. Anyways,
Oh yeah.
hey guys. Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to Unfiltered Pineapple Podcast. Today, we're joined by co-hosts Orik, Irving, and myself, Ari. And today's subject is funny stories that has happened to either us or other people.
It's just story
So
time. It's just
yeah.
story
That
time.
So
has to be the most awkward intro we've ever had. It
oh
has
my
to
god.
be like number one most awkward intro. Oh, we're gonna do intro.
No, but the thing is,
Oh my
like,
god.
this it's literally 9 minutes in, and it's just like, all right, at this point, we got to do an intro.
Oh, it was
I
well over
lo-
9 minutes in.
a good hard segue is always a great cut. I always appreciate those things. Yeah, thank you
Oh
everybody
man.
for joining in. We're just having story time right now.
Story time. Yeah.
It's
Pretty
always
much,
great.
pretty much just telling people how things are going or crazy stories like that. Ari, you got anything to add
Well, I
for the
do
clash
now
stream?
that I thought of it.
You
No,
had time
so
to think
this,
about it. Okay.
yeah. So I think so there was like one story that really sticks out to me. So you guys know that I used to be in Boy Scouts. And while in Boy Scouts, every year we would do something called Scout Sunday, and that's when we
Mm-hmm.
attend like the church services. And then this Scout Sunday was actually the Sunday before Veterans Day, right? Okay,
Okay.
so this isn't actually me, but like it involves my mom. So um, my mom, what she does is you know she um she sometimes like works at night, and so um the night before the Scout Sunday, she worked, and so she didn't have like much sleep. So we go to like the services, and then like at one point, like we the scouts did a little homage to the veterans of the church. And so my mom was like paying close attention, and she like ended up like dozing off a little bit. And so um when we had like asked the veterans to stand up for recognition, my mom didn't know what was going on, and so like she just decided, okay, like I'm gonna stand up now. It's like, and then she was like, what was going on? It's just like everyone's like standing up, and then everyone's getting like a round of applause, and then that's when like someone had shook her hand and said thank you for your service. And that's when she was like, "Oh my god!" Like, um, she was so mortified. Like, but she did not sit down. Like, she just like went along with it. She was like, yes, yes, you're welcome. uh,
That's wild.
yeah. So I think that was probably like um a really good like embarrassing story, but that's the only one that really came to mind when we're doing like story time.
I used to be a Boy Scout too. Like I got Eagle and all that.
Now,
Does
did
that
you know?
mean
I didn't know that.
now
Yeah, I was
question
Eagles.
question on the technicality? If you
Oh, so
got
you had
ego,
two Eagle Scouts here, huh?
does that really mean you were one or you still are one? If you've gone through the whole system all the way, doesn't that kind of like a badge of honor that follows you everywhere?
Yeah, once an
If
Eagle,
you
always an
make
Eagle.
Eagle, I was Eagle. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Once you get it there, it's a big thing.
that's what I was curious about. Okay.
Well, Orik and Dean were at my celebration, and they
Oh,
were
that
just
was
having a joyous
hysterical.
time.
That
Go ahead
was
and tell the story.
hysterical.
Go ahead and tell the
it, ca-
story, Orik.
it,
Yeah.
ca- it caught me off guard. Oh my gosh, that was so great. So we got invited to his Eagle Scout ceremony. We're at this random church I've never been. Was it even a church or I don't even remember
That was
what
my
it was.
it was St. Paul's. It was my church back home.
It was okay. I'd never
Yep.
been there before. So to me, it was in a random location. I knew obviously it had significance to him. So we go in there, we sit down, it gets started, and I don't remember the whole ceremony. In all honesty, I was trying my best for the longest time to be silent. Um, one of your Eagle Scout buddies went up there and spoke. This ginger, about the same height as you, and he just had the deepest voice. It was so off. It was so off-putting. that me and Dean were trying so hard not to laugh. The very moment the word came out of his mouth, both our heads shot straight down, and we looked at our toes for about 5 minutes, trying not to laugh. It just threw us off guard. Oh my
It
gosh.
it
And he,
it, it was it was so unexpected for them because like the person they're talking about, he's like this scrawny guy, redhead, not really a big dude, just has a lot of bass, like hello everybody. Like he just comes out like that.
like
And it just was
he,
unexpected.
here's the epitome of someone who went through puberty twice. It was, and after the ceremony, Dean and I didn't even look at Brandon. We did. Well, we did. We like, hey, congrats. And the very first things out of our mouth were congrats. That was so funny. We were trying not to laugh. We didn't even say much more about it, except talking about the guy's voice the whole time. Oh,
Yeah.
Was it like a
As soon as
James
you said
Earl
that,
Brown type of voice? James
James
Earl
Earl
Jones, I mean.
Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, pretty close.
it
Pretty
is
close.
Wow.
pretty much. It was that's what caught us off guard. Like, oh yeah, he's about our age. We're in our
Hello.
late teens. Much deeper. Like
Yeah.
Wow.
shatter glass if he sang at that note deep, as MythBusters proved. Ah,
Yep.
I hope that guy's doing well. He deserves great things with that voice. Um,
I haven't heard from him. Like I haven't heard from it most of my troop, really.
you don't keep up with him at all.
Not really. I mean, once you get to like college and stuff like that, people just move on and just do different things. Didn't really.
Yeah,
I wouldn't consider most of them friends. Like I don't know about Ari, but like my troop, we were tight knit. We had a good time and all that. But like I wouldn't consider a lot of them friends or even people I've talked to nowadays.
I consider that the same, yeah.
Yeah, we had a great times. Like we used to do a lot of activities. Um, Like for example, one story. So like Ari, like when you go camping, you have like a checklist. All right, make sure you
Yep,
have your sleeping bag. Make sure you
yep.
bring set of clothes. Tent.
Mhm.
You might if you're going hiking, you might have like to have your own food set or whatever. The mountain houses, the little freeze dried food. So we're
Yeah.
going to Gettysburg. We're driving all the way up to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. And my mom is very tedious, as some of you know. So she's like, "You have everything?" And then like we're rushing at the last minute. Like I'm getting all my stuff together. I'm rushing to get everything there. And you know how people are at that age where you're like, "I know what I'm doing, mom." I was at that age, level, and so we get all my stuff in there. I'm throwing everything in my bag, and then we go. And as soon as we get there, this is like March, April. So you know how the weather is out here in the northeast region. It's kind of chilly, but sometimes warm. So I grab all my stuff and I get in there and I'm ready to go. And as soon as I get in the car, as soon as they do like a backpack check, like make sure everything's there, and we live like maybe 30 minutes away from the church that our troops at. So it takes a good minute. And I'm over there and we do a check. And it's like everybody got their sleeping bags, and I look, I'm like, I'm my sleeping bag. So
Oh
I don't have
my
my sleeping
god.
bag. I don't have my sleeping bag at all. So I'm over there like, oh boy. And my mom's like, does anybody got a blanket? Like we're all worried around and just looking for things. So this whole trip, I'm like driving out there like a 4 to 6 hour drive all the way to Gettysburg. We're just like driving there, and I'm just thinking, hopefully it's not gonna be cold. Luckily, we didn't have to have like lodging or anything like that. So it's like one of those big cabins. So you got like little beds or whatever, right? We get there and I'm like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. So I put like two socks on, I like double layer my clothes on, and I just start putting clothes. I just throw my whole bag and just dump the clothes on me. I kid you not, I woke up, it was like 38 degrees in there. And my socks, my double layered socks had frost on them.
Oh no.
Like I'm like shivering. I'm like, oh no. So the whole time, like I'm just like struggling. Like we go out there. Once like the day warmed up, I was good. But like that whole trip, I never ever again forgot about a sleeping bag or a blanket or any of that because that was ridiculous. Just wake up in the morning just cold.
Oh no. So Brandon, are you like the type of person that like always forgets like one thing whenever they go? I feel like that's always been like my issue. It's just like, if I ever plan like a trip or something, and then like I make like a list or whatever, and then there's always something that I forget.
Oh,
It's
I am
just
notoriously for I have a good memory, but it does not come down to objects. I will always forget one thing or misplace one thing. It just happens. Like I remember when I was in school, teachers just get mad because I was not organized at all. My bag was filled with just papers crunched up, and I'd be like, "Oh, here's my homework." And I had to like look for it because I forget. Like I'm that type of person.
that
You know,
reminds me
I've gotten
like
better.
I
I've
don't have that
actually
issue.
yeah, but for like me, like oh man, it's always something. But that actually reminds me, last year when I went down to Florida to visit Anthony, I packed everything. Like I was there for like a 4-day weekend, and it was like fall break at the law school, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go down to Florida and visit Anthony, and so I pack everything and I make sure to double check because like I'm that type of person that would obviously forget stuff. And I'm just like, all right, I'm good to go. And so like I go there, I'm on the airplane, and I notice that my phone battery is like low. I'm just like, all right, well, I packed my battery pack, and then I packed like my charger. So I'm just like, yeah, I'm good to go. And so I got down in the airport. I was I'm just like, you know what, I might as well charge it now because like I don't know when I'm going to be able to do it. And um I had already called Anthony and was like, hey, like I'm here and I'm going to go straight to my hotel, and I'm just going to meet you at like a restaurant or whatever. And so like I checked my backpack, and I noticed that I packed two of like the Apple Watch chargers, and I'm just like, oh no, oh no. I didn't pack a regular lightning charger for my iPhone, so I'm just like, oh no, this is this is not good. So like I'm at 20%, and I'm just like, I need to get to the hotel. I'm gonna prioritize that. I'm gonna let Anthony know that I didn't bring a charger with me, and maybe I'll get him to like bring me one or whatever. And so all right, so I'm driving to my hotel. I get stuck in traffic. Like, oh my God. Like, it only takes 15 minutes for me to get to the hotel from the airport, but it was terrible traffic that night. It was like, oh my God, like you couldn't even go a mile in like 20
What
minutes.
part
And
of
it's just,
Florida?
yeah, like that's Florida, duh. But,
I, I
oh
mean, like
man,
what part?
it was just really bad that night. And, I'm just like, my phone's teetering to the edge. It's like I need to find a hotel. Um, and so I have like Google Maps on, and that obviously like drains the battery really really fast. So I get to the main road where oh, I'm sorry, which part of Florida?
Yeah, yeah.
It was Tampa. So
Oh, yeah,
major
yeah.
major city. Yeah, yeah. So like I get onto the main street where my hotel is supposed to be, and I'm just like, you know what? I need to memorize this. Like, so I pull out my map, and I'm just like, okay, it's gonna be on the left hand side of the road. So I would need to get on the other side of the road. Okay. And so in the middle, of me driving, my phone dies. So I'm just like, crap. Now I need to actually like look for this hotel. And I remembered in the map that it said like, all right, so it's right before where like I think it was like the University of South Florida. Don't quote me on that, but it's right before then. If I pass the University of South Florida, I've gone too far. So I'm just like driving, up and down this road, and just like I can't find my hotel. Like where is it? Like I I kid you not. Like I may have passed it like 5 or 6 times, and I still couldn't see it. It's like a road where you have like a whole bunch of restaurants, a whole bunch of like gas stations. It's just like I can't find this place. So I'm just like you know what, I'm gonna buy a charger. So I go and stop at like a Dollar General that looks that was like kind of sketchy. It's just like it is a bit dark, and I just like, all right, whatever, So I go inside, buy a charger. I plug it into the car charging port, and I'm just like, finally, I'm able to charge my phone a little bit. I pull up the maps, and I kid you not, like the hotel was right next door. Like it is literally like 100 feet away. I'm just like, how in the world did I miss this? Like, it's got like this big sign. It's just like, all right, I don't know. I missed that hotel. I'm just like, all right, whatever. So I was able to charge my phone. I called Anthony, and then we were able to meet up afterwards. But I don't understand. Like, I've went up and down that road 6 times, and I did not see this hotel.
You know, it
Oh
might
my
just be
god.
something of like stress, Like sometimes if people are stressing or like, for example, like schoolwork or people trying to do things the last minute, they forget small things. If you're rushing around looking for things and you're stressed out, you kind of like overlook the obvious sometimes.
Yep. It's so crazy. And it was like a really busy like road too. It's just like I would say it's like a no, it's a 5 lane road, and it's like an avenue, so you have traffic on both sides. So it's just like me, like, going up and down this road so many times. I'm just like, I don't see this damn place. I don't know. It was crazy to me. But yeah,
That's why.
like
Florida. Oh, so great. Florida.
yeah.
I have a few experiences in Florida. I'll go to a very quick story real quick about my no, not last trip. I want to say it was a couple years ago, actually. Yeah, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I went to Florida for a training event for my job. While I was there, you get a per diem, and the way my per diem works is you get a maximum amount each. So if it's like $40 a day, they pay me back the full 40, even if I don't spend it. I still have to share my receipts, but they still pay me back the full 40. I was like, oh boy, I can make money on this
Per
trip.
per diem is amazing. I'll say that now.
Yeah. So, taking into account breakfast and lunch because those are already paid for. I think it was like I don't know, $40 for dinner each day, and I was there for 5 days. Like, oh sweet, I can get $200 out of the end of this if I don't pay for any dinner. I'm not that cheap though, so I went out and got dinner. And to do that, I went to the grocery store about I want to say it was about 15-minute walk from the hotel I was staying at. And when I mapped it, I was like, okay, I can make that. It's take a right, take a left, and just go straight. And I noticed the neighborhood I was in. Oh, all right. As I'm walking down to the grocery store, I was like, I recognize this kind of place. This reminds me of certain parts of Richmond and certain parts of actually where I live. So I know what to expect around any of these turns. I get into the grocery store, I buy my food, and I leave. And I bought extra food for a reason, not just because I eat a lot. But as I'm making my way back, I'm literally 2 blocks away from the hotel. I see the spot where, what's it called? The chauffeurs are. I see that part of the road in front of me, and this large man with skinny arms, a beer belly for days, and just thick legs comes out from around a corner without a shirt on. I was like, "Hey, man, how you doing?" I was like, "Oh, this is it. I was waiting for this to happen." This guy with like mustard stains on his chest hair comes looking at me. He's like, "So, what you doing out here?" I was like, making my way back to the hotel. I just went grocery shopping. Like, oh man, I'm really hungry. You got extra food that you can spare? I'm broke. I got nothing going for me. I was like, yeah, here's an extra bag of chips. I told him I was expecting to be stopped on the way back, so I always grab extra food just in case. The guy was like gloriously happy that I gave him a bag of nacho cheese Doritos, which I despise. That's a conversation for another day. And just this huge sweaty man just hugged me. One arm hugged me, face into his armpit. And he's like, oh man, thank you. I'm starving. This is so great. And then he just walked across the street in front of 2 cars. No red light or anything. Just walked right in front of them, jaywalking. I got back to the front of the hotel. Like, do you know that guy? I was like, nope. That was my last trip to Florida alone. Probably one of the last times I want to do something like that.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
you're lucky you escaped with your life. That was a Florida man.
Mm.
They're no
I told
joke.
you, I'm well aware of where I was and what was going on. That's why I bought my PB&J sandwiches for 5 days and a bag of chips to throw away to someone who was going to stop me. that, that was my diet for those dinners, those 5 days.
Wait, you said you. So wait, did you go out to eat or not? I'm confused. Or did you just buy a bunch of
No,
PB and J?
I bought a loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, and a jar of jelly, and some milk, and that was my budget for dinner for the week, so that I could make an extra like $180 not paying for dinner every day.
Oh my god.
Because I could stockpile at lunch and breakfast. I could take some stuff back to my room, so I didn't have to go out for dinner every day. Have plenty at lunch, take some leftovers, and then you're good to go. So I wasn't like starving myself for this.
True, but just a disclaimer for anybody listening. Orik is a very cheap individual with money. He'll buy nice things once in a while, but he is very, very tedious about his money to a
I'm
T.
I'm ve- I'm very tedious. I am not afraid to spend it if I need to or if someone needs assistance. There's been plenty of times where I've just, hey, you need $100? Here you go. I'm not hesitant to help someone out.
Yeah, Brandon, I think frugal is the word.
He's
Very
above frugal.
frugal. Yeah,
He's
very
above
frugal.
Frugal means you don't want to spend money at all costs. Cheap means you're very wise with your money. I might have the terms reversed, but that's what I always thought they were.
Very thrifty would be a better terminology for him.
Yeah, I like that. We'll go with that one.
Yeah.
Again, that's a conversation I'm willing to have for another day where people just ask me how I approach different situations and avoid spending money.
I'll put it
or
this way,
how
a side note. Me and you were talking one day and you're like, yeah, I don't go to fast food, it's too expensive.
What?
Oh my gosh, yes, I was having uh, I was this was before the pandemic. I was having a serious internal meltdown and it's not like I was broke. Granted, I have
You're
stories
never
about
broke.
ironically, but I live like I am. Actually, I was pretty close at one point in college. I didn't have a place to stay or anything without the kindness of others. Um, I couldn't even take my significant other out on dates. I looked at her and said, "Look, I can't afford McDonald's, so we're just gonna have fun being around each other." Um, but no, I've got many stories of me being very thrifty or cheap or whatever people want to call it. But yeah,
I was
fast
Oh,
food. Talking about the
yeah.
fast food thing, this was a vendetta I had against Wendy's. I love Wendy's. I was like, you know what? I've heard people talk about it for a while. I haven't been at Wendy's for a while. Let me go out and buy a sandwich there. I paid $9 for my meal and I was livid. I was like, why does my one meal cost $9 at a fast food place? Don't get me wrong. I liked it, but I didn't think it was worth $9. And then when I kept looking at things again, I was like, my gosh, if it weren't for the dollar menu at McDonald's, everything here is overpriced. A Whopper's too expensive. The medium fries are too expensive. I just, I had a phase for quite many months where I refused to pay for anything other than what I could buy and cook at home because it just looked too expensive to me.
so I'll tell you right now, you would hate to be here. You would hate to be here. The pricing range here is ridiculous. I'm almost used to it now. Like one of the dollars here
What's the
is
conversion rate, though? What's the conversion rate?
yeah, yeah, it's like one dollar out here in Bahrain is equivalent to $2.65 in America.
Oh wow.
And it gets you every time because you look at the menu, you see like, oh, 4, 5, not bad. Then you think about, oh, 15, 12.
I
It gets
just had
pretty
to take
bad
a,
out here.
I just had to take a deep breath to relax myself. Let me compose myself. Ari, you get back to talking.
Yeah,
I was
it's gotten
actually
pretty bad.
oh my god. I was actually thinking about the phrase in Spanish for people that are very very cheap. The phrase is like, the guy doesn't eat a banana so he doesn't throw away the peel, you know. It's just like, you're so cheap that you don't really throw away anything because you don't want it, you don't want to waste it.
No,
Oh, trust me.
I don't hoard. I don't. If I have trash, I throw trash away. I'm a very clean person, so I don't have that problem.
I'll
Yeah,
tell
you
you
guys.
this.
Oh, go ahead.
Um, it's kind of like this is a segue into a little story. So, um, I'm out here in Bahrain, and I'm with my coworkers. They're like, "Oh, let's go out to Shrimp Pot." This like the island's not that big. You could probably drive the island in maybe like 2 hours. No, not a big island, but driving's a little more annoying because people are very dangerous drivers here. They either drive very
Really?
fast or they drive very slow. Yes. Yeah. I've been to like almost 3 near accidents already. Um, but anyways, so we're going out there, and this is like near the another beach coast area, called Amwash. So we go out to this place called Shrimp Pot. It's like a seafood broil. So we go out there. We're all sitting there celebrating somebody's birthday. Get in there. They're like, "Oh, this place is amazing." I was like, "Okay, I'm not super hungry." So everybody's getting their food orders. I asked for a lobster po' boy. They're like, "We don't have that." I was like, "Well, do you have a shrimp po' boy?" They're like, yeah, we have that."
Hmm.
So we're all ordering. I'm over there chilling. They come back. Everybody gets their orders. I get like 3 shrimps, and they're just like, "Here you go, sir." I was like, "I didn't ask for this." They're like, "What do you mean? Didn't ask for this?" So I'm literally livid at that point. Like I'm pretty much tired of that place. I haven't been back since. I'm that pissed about it. But meanwhile, while I'm chilling there, I watch somebody literally eat their shrimp. One of my coworkers, they eat the whole shrimp whole, like the head and all. Like they're literally just like
Skin and
taking the shrimp.
everything, the
Wait,
shell.
Yes, the
what?
head.
Really?
Yes, yes, the shell and everything. They're just munching on it. And I'm like, that is disgusting. What are you doing? He's like, this is fine. This
Ugh.
is how you eat shrimp. He's literally just crunching on
What?
it and he's eating it like it's nothing. Like he's eating the shell and all. I was like, I can't believe this. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Wow.
eh, In
Oh,
my
that's
line of work,
great.
you meet some crazy people, man. I couldn't believe it.
But
This man was literally just eating a whole shrimp.
but the thing is, like, isn't like the shell like really, I don't know, like nasty? Like,
Or hey, he ate it. Like
oh
he
my
even convinced
god.
one of these girls like didn't even know about like she that like never had shrimp or crawfish for the first time. He convinced her to eat the shell and all too.
Oh no. That's a
So she was like munching it in pain, and she's like, "Why?" And I was like, "No one does this. Who eats the? Apparently, people do though. They eat the whole shell and all. Did not know that."
That actually reminds me of a
that's
few things I
crazy.
saw at college. At some of the dining halls at college, there was this one morning freshman year. I don't know if this guy had a hangover or what was happening, but it's breakfast. It's like 7 a.m. and this guy is in front of me at the cereal line. So he gets his bowl of Reese's Puffs. I get my bowl of Cheerios. I go over to the station to get milk, and I see that he's not at the milk station. He's filling up his bowl with Coca-Cola. And he sits at a table across from me and just eats it all casually. I'm just thinking like, man, my Cheerios taste nothing like what you're going through right now. Holy
Oh
cow.
man. You
That
see a
was
lot of
bad.
crazy stuff, you know.
I also
Yeah.
this still ticks me off. I don't know why it ticks me off. It's one of the few ways I've seen people eat food that really ticks me off. And they're not doing anything wrong. But a couple years later, there's this girl eating a dining hall. She had peeled her banana, but she peeled just one side of it and was eating it like a watermelon slice, just across the side, left to right, all the way into the banana. She didn't even unpeel the whole thing. I'm
What
just
is what?
And I just sat there pissed off. Like this wasn't me just being like, "Oh, that's problematic." My friend looked was like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "That is just like a crime. That is just you're doing this wrong. You need to be kicked out, or you need to be shown how to do this correctly. You can't be 20 plus years old and getting that wrong. That's not how you eat a
Wow.
banana."
There's
Yeah,
just
and
no
that's
way.
it still ticks me off. Yeah, she just ate it like a watermelon. She took off one strip of it and just ate into the shell, pushing her face and lips deep into the banana peel, rather than peeling it off. She could have just
Oh
held
no.
she could have just held the naked banana between her fingers and eaten it that way. No, she kept the shell on, the peel, whatever it is.
I'm just thinking the imagery just has me weak. Just somebody just like peeling it over and just munching into it like some corn.
And none of her friends said anything about this. Like if she was sitting with 5 other people, I would refuse to sit there with her eating like that. I would say, no, we need to fix this now. You done messed up.
Yikes. Um That actually kind of reminds me of like, so I kind of glossed over my story of me going to visit Anthony in Florida. So when I got like a really cheap flight, and so this is like, this isn't Spirit
Was-
Airlines. This is like some other like,
Oh,
cheap airway, and oh my god, like so I was supposed to arrive there around like 5 p.m. right? And the airplane was like delayed, for 2 hours because of like thunderstorms down in Tampa. And so, all right, that's fine. It's like it doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as I arrive there the same day, it doesn't really matter. So I got on the flight. I specifically chose like the very last seats towards the back of the airplane because I'm like, well, I mean, when at the time, like, when I saw like the seating chart, no one was sitting next to me. So I'm just like, I'm praying. It's just like, I really hope, no one sits next to me. And so like I go sit back there and like a good while passes. I'm just like, is it today? Like, am I really gonna have like the seat all to myself? So it's just like, all right. A couple minutes pass by, we're about to like leave. This guy comes in like really late. Um, he's like a really, a young redneck fellow. And then he like I'm just like there's some seats open, in front of me. I'm just like, please sit there. Please sit there. Nope. He sits right next to me. I'm just like, all right, fine, whatever. The guy says hi to me. I'm just like, really? You're gonna be like the talkative one today. So
That's my
I was just
job.
like, yeah, hey, hello, just like, all right. And then I just like look out the window, and I did not expect, my flight to be terrible for the next hour and a half. Oh my god. So this guy, at first he didn't really talk, but then like he struck up a conversation with like these two girls that were sitting across from us, and it was just like, all right, and they were like really loud too. It's just like, they were no one else was talking on the plane. It was just literally them two. And he was just like asking, "Oh, so what do you do?" It's just like, and that's when I found out that the girls that were sitting next from us were they were strippers, and they were actually going down to do like a private show for like I guess like this rich people, because like they were saying like, oh yeah, it's gonna be at a mansion, and they showed like pictures, and it's just like, all right, whatever. And like so like this is like during the pandemic too, so everyone was wearing masks and everything, and through like the whole time, like how like people wear masks, and they don't cover their nose, so like it was just like right there covering like not even his nose. So it's just like one of the flight attendants came up and said, sir, could you please like put your mask over your nose? It's like, all right, and then he kind of put it over his nose, whatever. And all right, but like, and then when she left, like he put it back down, and he just like kept talking with like the girls across from the aisle. And so like the same flight attendant came back. She saw that, he didn't have his mask on again, and was like, "Sir, if you don't put your mask on, I'm going to ask you to leave, Um we will I guess like, they will stop like literally the plane and kick him out." I'm just like, "Oh no. Not today, please. I don't want to be witness to anything." And so like, then he started to argue with her. It's just like, oh man, just like, what do you mean you want me to put on my mask? I have my mask on." And she's like, "No, sir, you have to put it over your nose." And I'm just like, "Oh no." So finally like, this gentleman that's also like a flight attendant, he came over and was like, "Sir, you got to put on your mask on, otherwise we will stop this flight." I'm just like, okay, fine, like, so he put his mask on over, and then that's when like I don't know what it was in his mind, but like he just like started like, talking even louder. Everyone on the plane was uncomfortable at this point, and it's just like this guy doesn't pay attention, like, and he's just like be making like a big mess. So at a certain point, it's just like I guess he didn't get the attention he wanted, and so he just like got quiet, and then we finally landed, and it's just like that was like a grueling hour and 30-minute flight. That was just wow. Like, um, hopefully you guys don't ever have to like experience something like that. But I learned my lesson truly, like not to do cheap flights.
Flights to training events that I've been on, I always end up getting stuck by the person who likes to talk. And by the end of the flight, I'm the only one still talking.
Yeah.
I talk to them for 2 hours straight until we get onto topics that they either lose interest in or don't know how to respond to. And then they stop talking.
I know. As far as flights go for me, uh, the last flight I took that took forever. That was probably the most um pain-stricken like type of flight you ever had to go into. It was like almost like a 8 to like I guess you skip like time zones almost. So like if you leave let's say today, you would come back, you would be at this area here the next day, and it'd be around the same time. So it's technically like a long flight, but it's just you're going through the time zones. But it lasted like almost 13 hours because during the time it was still the pandemic going on. So every layover we stopped at, they wouldn't let us up the flight. So you're just sitting
Wait,
there the
you were
whole
still in
flight.
the airplane?
Yes, I was still in the airplane the entire flight for 13 hours straight. Like they gave, like they were nice, they were accommodating, like they gave you food and stuff like
Yeah.
that. There's actually like ports where you could charge your devices or whatever, but like sitting there for like 13, 14 hours in there was a pain. Like it was sore. I mean, you had like a little bit of space because like the way it worked was like they would stop at a location and then some people would get out the flight and then that would be their location and you would sit there for like an hour or two as they refill the plane. Like they even changed staff while we were in the flight. Because I
Did they
think like pilots
reload?
can only
Do they reload
I
with
think they can,
food when the staff comes on, or did they just have all the food for the flight at the start of the flight?
no, I think they reloaded as well. They reloaded as well. I think like they said that flight attendants can only be on or like pilots and all that can only be a flight for like a certain amount of hours before they actually have to get off it. So that's why they swapped crews. But yeah, it
Mm.
was a very long flight. Like I think it was like 9 a.m. when I left, and then it took forever to leave that. And then after that, once we got there, it was like almost like 8 or 9 p.m. here. So it's like from Maryland to all the way to Bahrain. It was like already nighttime in the next day. So it was
Oh wow.
very fun. Yeah, it also took forever to get out the flight too, with all the checking bags and standards like that, because they're a lot more stringent.
Everyone's
Oh
standing
Hmm?
wow.
up at once, saying like, "I'm gonna get off the flight first," even though they're in the back. Yeah.
Oh no, no, we didn't even. There's like like usually have a little what do you call it? Like when you get to the terminals, they have those little things connecting to the flight.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, but you get what I'm saying. They didn't even have that. We just like walked down the tarmac.
Yeah, I did that in Colorado once, heading to a wedding out in Colorado. We were at a small airport. We land, and they're like, "All right, your bags are outside." We're like, "All right." So you get off the plane, and you realize, okay, they're unloading the plane. You turn around, you still have a quarter-mile walk to the airport. They didn't even come in close to the airport. They gave us a quarter-mile
Wow.
walk across 3 runways. Like, yeah, you'll get there. It's like, thanks.
That
It's only
sounds
11 at
safe.
night. It's only 11 at night. Sure. Um,
Dang, that sounds really safe.
it was fun.
Also,
And then,
guys, I just wanted to mention, I got a text from our technical director, and apparently I had told that story before about my experience on the airplane. So have at it what you will, but I was traumatized, guys.
I mean, it
see,
was a great story to me. Like I didn't hear it, so. But thank you,
yeah,
Tech in the
Yeah,
back. Appreciate you.
yeah.
yeah.
Thumbs
That
up to the
actually,
technical director. Yep.
that does actually bring up a triggering thought back to food. If I remember correctly, Ari, don't you eat apples whole? Like you eat the core and the seeds too?
Okay,
That wasn't a no. So go on, please explain.
okay. You make it sound like I'm a freak and I just like eat an apple like Well, I mean, okay, so
like a chimp biting into its own food, just deep gnawing straight out.
I
so
mean,
I'm gonna
apparently
be
to one of
honest
our
with
mutual
y'all.
friends, they were freaked out when they saw you eat a whole apple. They thought you were a savage. Uh, apparently to one of our mutual friends.
Yeah, yeah. So, no. So the thing is, like, I saw like a video online. It's just like this is the correct way to eat apples, and it has you basically you either start from the top or the bottom. The top, being like the stem, or the bottom being like I don't know what you even call that part, but that's how you eat it. It's just like from top down, and with that, you actually don't eat the seeds. Like, the way that the seeds are set up are just like so they'd be facing up. And so when you crunch down on it, you don't actually like eat the seeds. Like they just go in whole or whatever. And that's like the most efficient way because like you don't eat or like you eat through the apple core and the only thing you're left with is like the stem if you I guess like finish, but yeah. I wouldn't say that's weird though.
I don't I don't recall ever having a problem eating an apple sideways. And it might just be me. It might just be me where that's not a problem.
But the thing
So I
that's
don't I
that's a
don't know
little
why
bit
someone
wasteful though.
I'm
I think that's wasteful, because like
wasteful
you're
on
not getting
energy or
all of the
wasteful on
nutrition of
food.
the apple.
I'm not eating the apple for the seeds and the stem. I'm eating the apple for the skin and the actual fruit on the inside with the juice and everything.
Yeah, but you're
So
you're getting
once I
that,
get to
but you
that,
don't eat the core because like the seeds are in there. But if you
yeah.
eat like the apple whole, like it's just like all right, you eat the whole thing.
For some reason, when you said it that way, my mind just went to like apple bobbing. Someone goes down, they pick their mouth up, and they just swallow the apple.
Oh no.
One, go back down. But okay, no, I understand where you're coming from with that. To me that reminds me of that whole banana experience again, and anything that reminds me of that girl eating that banana makes me feel like it's a problem.
It
I
makes
just
it's definitely how is it what is it called like
a
it
food
definitely gets
crime.
on your nerves. It grinds your gears when you see someone do something so heinous like
A pet
that.
peeve.
Gosh, I no, I will say though, I do actually eat seeds. I eat the shells from sunflower seeds. I eat the occasionally I've eaten watermelon seeds too. I'm just too lazy to spit them out. So
Mm.
for me to critique someone for eating an apple all the way through, eh, maybe not for an apple, but I've done that myself with some stuff that you're like, that's not supposed to be in your system.
I mean, technically, like the apple seeds have like what is it, arsenic or something that you
Cyanide.
shouldn't cyanide. Yeah, so you
If you eat, but the equivalence of that, you have to eat like 20 apples or so, like for to actually
yeah
kill you.
you need like eat a pound of like apple seeds or something like that. But you don't actually eat the seeds. You don't actually release like the seeds will go right through you, so you won't munch down. How do chew? You won't chew on like the apple seeds, so you're not like releasing the toxins, you know? So I think that eating like the apple whole, is probably the best way to go.
Yeah, that again, that's fine. You triggered my memory of that event, and I was like, oh my gosh, that threw me off guard like that banana did. And I had to keep going back to it. I saw that banana girl do it again a couple weeks later, and then a year later, I saw her still at the school. I was like, oh my gosh, she hasn't changed. I don't know if she's even passing her classes at this point. How does she? God, it still befuddles me. That just
So is that what we're doing now? We're naming our people by different names. So we got Shrimp Boy, Banana Girl,
Banana girl,
and then and then Ari the Apple Muncher.
yeah, that's what the A in RE stands for, of course.
apple muncher.
Oh man.
I will
Well, I
say,
think this
actually,
go ahead.
I was going to share one more story real quick about shrimp because I was trying to remember it earlier, but I couldn't remember all the details, but I got it now. There was a time where I went to well, I think it was a Chinese buffet with my family, and they had uh, whole pieces of crawfish there with the heads and everything. So kind of like people just take crab legs and break them apart at the Chinese restaurant. They had crawfish and a few other things there for people to peel and eat. And I, with my wise wisdom, went up like, oh, cool. Let me try these things. They'll taste great. So I have a plate full of them, and I'm just trying to figure out how to peel them and eat them. And then one of my siblings gets up to go get their own food. And when they come back, they see that their drink on the top of their straw was the decapitated head of a crawfish shoved on top of it. And not just like hanging on it, like shoved through the mouth. As I had taken the time to just tear one of these things apart and just decorate his whole plate inside of the table with it. He was disgusted. I've It's been a long time since I've seen that sibling very pissed off and angry. That was one of the angriest I've seen him in years, and I loved it. But I I never had an inkling to eat the head of a crawfish, nor shrimp. That just yeah.
Well, I wouldn't
I,
even have the inkling to even eat the shell. Like they just ate the shell and all, like it was nothing. The tail, everything.
I've had the shell before. I've tried it just to see what it's like and why people don't do it. But I knew I shouldn't, and I only did it once.
Well, there's nothing wrong eating the whole thing. It's just, I don't know. It feels like you got plastic in your mouth.
It doesn't taste right. It doesn't feel right. But I will say, oh yeah, that does remind me. I got crawfish at a seafood restaurant. I want to say a few months ago, and I took a picture of it on my phone. I just had to. I was able to eat everything, but I took all the heads off, and I just had this plate of a bunch of heads of dead crawfish, like 15 crawfish. I was like, hey, look, family reunion.
Eating a
All
bunch of
stare,
mud bugs.
yeah, all of them staring into the camera. It's just a picture of 15 crawfish with mouths open and pictures and everything. Like family reunion, yay! Uh, but I just like playing with the heads at the end. That's fascinating to me. The childish side comes out. I don't want to eat it though. It doesn't look appetizing.
I mean,
Yeah,
crawfish is good and all. It just depends how it's cooked.
yeah. Again,
It's a
it
lot of
tasted
work
fine.
though.
Looking at the head, I don't want to eat the head. And it wasn't like, oh, it was alive at one point. That doesn't faze me. It's the fact that it just isn't appetizing is the reason I take it off.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Well, I think this is a good ending for this topic of stories in general. We'll probably continue on. I'll probably do a little bit more crazier stories the more on we go with these I guess a series. Yeah, do y'all want to make this a series or
Oh, I've got
We
plenty of
can
story time to do.
we can make it a series.
I think that'd be interesting depending on, what other stories. You know, I have a lot of other stories I have not said. A lot of other stories.
I'm
We all
actually
do,
interested to
yeah.
hear like other hosts, what stories they have.
Oh
Yeah, you
yes.
all of you listening, let us know in the comments who you want to hear stories from next time.
Oh, for sure. Next time I'll tell you my legendary shot story. I do not condone the drinking of
Oh, I love
alcohol.
the shot story.
So
Shots.
shots. Yeah, we could do that story next time. But until
We've
then,
got
thank you for tuning in to the
Are
Up
we gonna need
podcast.
Miles for that, by the way?
Oh, we could definitely add him. I'm blaming him for all of that.
Yeah,
100%.
definitely.
Yeah, I'm definitely blaming him for all of that. But
Yeah,
thank you
so
for tuning in to the Up podcast, aka the Unfiltered podcast. Well, y'all, I guess listen to us soon. All right,
Unfiltered
yeah,
Pineapple. Follow us on social media where we can. Thanks for joining in.
please comment and share. Thank you.
hit the dislike button.